just a comic book. It's just a TV show. No, it's not. Stories are the building blocks of our culture, of ourselves, even of our own psychology. We are a product of the stories we tell ourselves about our own past and the experiences on a daily basis, but also the stories that we choose to spend time with. What types of values or feelings or whatever are they promoting? What types that we like to spend our time around? They're going to shape us. They're going to shape our personality and character, and they're going to shape our perception of the world and the acts and behaviors that we put out into the world. And people don't understand that. They go, it's just a movie. It's just this. I can like and promote whatever I want. Well, of course you can, but you should pay attention to the responsibility that you have.
Consume stories responsibly.
As a member of society, as a human being, responsibility to yourself.
Consider the consequences.
You need some balance. You need some certain criteria that is going to make sure you're promoting the right kind of works, or at least have thought through the type of work that this or that story is going to do in our culture, and then make your own decision whether or not that's something you want to support.
Consume stories responsibly. Consider the consequences. Consume stories responsibly.
Hello everyone, I am Professor Geek. Welcome back to the channel, and welcome to our Friday night stream. Still don't really have a name for it. Some people were saying call it Consume Stories Responsibly, but I don't really know how that would work. So, that's kind of a long name. But anyway, we are here. We've got a lot of cool stuff to talk about. Well, cool in terms we need to shine a light on it, but not so cool in terms of what's going on. So we'll get to that, but I am going to try to stay as focused and as energized as I can tonight. It's been a bit of a day. It's been hot here too, just like a hot snap after we had some nice cool days. So took my little power nap and everything, and tried to get ready. Been chugging my Diet Dr. Pepper, jamming my Mr. Big on the radios or the speakers. So I'm hyped up. We're ready to go, but I'll try to be as coherent and organized as possible. That's a challenge for me on a good day. But welcome to the chat. Let's see who we've got in here. We've got quite a few people, almost like 50 people hanging out before the show even began. So that's awesome to see. Let's see. I don't, of course I set this stream up the other day, so I don't know who was here technically first or whatnot. I do see good old Nathaniel Zalozball, who says I butcher his name, but I try anyway. I got him in here. Welcome. Shatter Aridin. Welcome. Melissa Harrison Sons. Crizzy Kitty. Good to see you. Let's see who else we had in here. Megatron Prime, Chris H. A lot of folks in here chatting, having a great time. That's good to see. Matthew Flynn, welcome. Call Sign Enterprise. I see my dear sound engraver. Welcome. Green Lion Girl. Big Al came by to bless me with his presence tonight. Awesome. Great to see you there. Matt Wilkins as well. Great to see you. And Leia Plus Size. Matt Wilkins talking about my sweet Miss Pac-Man arcade. Yes, it is very sweet. It's not just Miss Pac-Man either. It's got, what's it got on it? Mrs. Pac-Man, Pac-and-Pal, Galaga, Galaxin, Pac-Man Plus, Dig Dug 2, and Superman, or Super Pac-Man rather. So it's pretty sweet. It's good stuff. We're going to have fun with that quite a bit here coming up this summer. But we have some stuff to talk about tonight. As you saw with the thumbnail there, I saw this announcement for the Superman series, and it came out right on the heels of the horrible character designs and we were seeing from the Kevin Smith's He-Man series. And I thought this is so blatantly obvious to me. It's so blatantly obvious to me. This is a culture war. This is an insidious attack on our culture by the woke ideologues. It's almost like watching a movie about an alien invasion or something, or any kind of movie like that, where it's the suspense or whatever, and something's trying to take over, society or whatever. And you're following your main character who actually knows, he's uncovered, he's found out why and whatnot. And it's pretty obvious. The proof is there. It's so obvious, but everybody the character tries to tell about it just says, oh, come on, you're such a conspiracy theorist. That's not really what's going on. The aliens, they're staying in the White House because they're guests to our planet, and we want to give them our best accommodations. They're not ruling the government. Come on, that's silly. They need to put their consciousnesses in our bodies because they're having trouble acclimating to our atmosphere. Stop being don't be such an extremist all the time and worry about it. Hey, you can't judge it until you've experienced it. Let them take over your body, and then you can tell me whether it's a bad thing or not. It's insane how very comparatively few people get it, that this is a culture where this is an attack on our culture. They have very specific agendas and strategies. They have a goal they want to accomplish. It's not just willy-nilly. We can look at their methods sometimes and talk about how it's really ridiculous. For example, well, let me see. I've got a super chat here from Owen Lister. Welcome, very much appreciated. $4.99 says, because I'm feeling cheeky. Hashtag superhero helmets. All the more power to you, buddy. You can be cheeky as you want for $4.99 a pop. But a lot of people point out that it's ironic, right? It seems like it's self-defeating. It doesn't make a lot of sense. That they would say, we want to focus on women, minorities and stuff like that, yet then take women and make them look like men, or take minorities and not give them their own characters or their own stories, but drop them in the slot of white, heteronormative, whatever the evil words they have for the people they hate, their stories. It's not enough that Falcon is a Falcon. He has to be a Captain America. And people have pointed out, and very rightfully so, that, well, isn't that saying that women can't truly be heroic unless they look like men, or minorities can't truly carry a film unless they have the white man's title and the white man's this and that? And it's self-defeating. And people have pointed that out, and it's a good observation to make. It is, and it does seem really stupid. But they have an even more, as I said, an even more insidious agenda underneath that. In a way, they know exactly what they're doing with that. And it's really disturbing. And I'll get to that in a second here. But love those super chats. MC Ofke says, Invasion of the Culture Snatchers. Maybe that's a name for this Friday night stream. They have been kind of thematic, talking about, messing up Superman or too many villain stories, and now this culture war. Invasion of the Culture Snatchers. That's actually pretty good. I like that. Good points to you for that. I'll kick that around a little bit. And Deadly Alien Invader. Well, there you go. You're the one, right? You've done all this. He says, I have conquered your culture. Exactly. Yep. There you go. So when they make Tila, for example, and they say, well, if she's going to be the hero of the story, she has to have, as I said in my video, the same parts of her body have to be accentuated as the parts of the He-Man's body that are accentuated. Because, now we can look at that and say, well, they're saying that as a woman, she needs to look like a man to be a hero. That's not what they're thinking in their minds. They're thinking something quite evil and insidious in their minds. And this is absolutely true. Some people realize it, but they don't realize it all the time. Other people just don't know that this is the extent of their agenda because they haven't been in the academic world, or they haven't been in a lot of the circles. These people, these woke ideologues, truly, truly believe that there's no difference between a man and a woman. And we say that, and we've heard that said, but no, I just want to really drive that home. They truly believe that there's no difference between a man and a woman. Now, we can sit here and say, yeah, but they've got different organs. They've got, a man can grow a beard, a woman can't. They will legitimately look you in the face and say, well, that's just your social construction. Their goal is a world in which stuff like growing a beard or upper body strength, that does not connote male or masculine. They believe women should be able to have stronger upper body strength than men and should be able to grow beards. They believe that, and I'm not being silly here. I'm being truthful because I've been in the academic world. I know this. I know how extreme it is, and that's where it births. That's where it incubates, and then it starts to spread into culture. And how do they spread it into the culture? By the stories, by the mythology. This is what they do. They truly want to live in a world where you would never, ever, with your language, associate birthing a child with a woman. These things just, there's no difference between a man and woman to them. There's no difference at all. In fact, you can just choose your own sex, basically. They try to separate the idea of sex from gender, which is silly, and that's their first step. But then pretty much they're to the point where you just choose your own whatever you want to be. We got the drugs, we got the knives, we can hack and slash and sew up and do whatever. We've got the hormones. Be whatever you want to be. And then they start attacking the great evil that they call the heteronormative. So now we're non-binary and we're all different letters of the alphabet soup and all of this nonsense. This isn't reality. This isn't the way the world works. It's like somebody walking into a plastic bubble and they've painted the top of the bubble green and they're swearing up and down that the sky's green. And you idiot, how come you don't think the sky's green? Oh, well, you look up and the sky's blue? Well, that's your problem. Come in here in the bubble and then you'll agree with me that the sky's green. And they're not happy until they've expanded that bubble over everyone. This is what they're doing. And they're doing it with children's cartoons. Let that sink in. The indoctrination is so insidious. This is what public schools do. I'm sorry. Now, some private schools do it too, but this is absolutely, they've infiltrated, they started infiltrating higher academia, and they've got such a hold on it there. It's frightening. It truly is frightening. Such a hold on it there that their philosophies and attitudes have infiltrated people who aren't even necessarily woke. We used to laugh at the notion of having to be politically correct. That was kind of so stupid, some of the language. No, not anymore. No, you are sanctioned if you dare say the chairman of the department instead of the chair of the department. Don't you dare, sexualize or gender specific any of your language. This is nonsense. This isn't how language works. This isn't how the reality works around us. And we're going to talk about it specifically according to what it does to mythology here in just a second. But this is what they're doing. So when they make Tila, she needs to have strong arms and no feminization, whatever, to her body and stuff like that. That's because they believe that there's no such thing as the feminine for a woman and the masculine for a man. No such thing as that. And they're trying to get you to believe that too. They're trying to get you to swallow that. It's not enough for them to believe it. This is what also is just so evil about this all. It is not even remotely about, don't believe this. This is a lie straight from the pit of hell that they tell you. Hey, we just want equality. Hey, we just want freedom. We just want equality. Isn't that okay? I mean, when we want representation and hey, we just want, everybody to have a good seat at the table. That's all. No, it's not. No. They want to control you. They want to make sure you have the exact same opinions that they do. They can talk all they want about diversity. They don't believe it. Diversity to them is evil. Now, in terms of different colors of skin, sure. Paint that rainbow up. Bring it on in. Diversity of thought. Oh, you turn around and march right back out of here until you've learned how to think straight. You come in here with that wrong think. They cannot abide diversity of thought, diversity of opinion. Absolutely cannot abide it. You must think like us. And if you don't, they will try to continuously indoctrinate and insinuate their views into the culture, and they do it through mythology. And we're going to get to that specifically here in a second, but I want to thank Mr. Arcade Burns. I see my computer's being a little silly here. Let me turn my camera off as I do sometimes. Sometimes that works, and then I'll throw it back up. But Arcade Burns says, I got $5. Thank you very much for that. Says, I got your name for the show, Professor Geek. It's Friday. PGIF. I like that. PGIF. It's a full house for perfect strangers, family members, taken step by step. That is clever. I like that. That is good. Good old TGIF. I remember that. Back in the good old days. All right, let's see if this works. Cam just gets weird sometimes for some reason. So they're doing it with our mythology. It's not enough for them to create new stories. In fact, they can't. If they try to create new stories, very, very more often than not, they fall on their faces. They don't draw people in. The only way for them to get people in to be preached to is to take beloved fandoms and franchises and reboot them, remake them from the ground up. I did a number of videos about the She-Ra series. It is absolutely disgusting. It is filthy. It is disgusting to the point of nausea, actually, what they've done in that series to the story that was She-Ra, the characters that were She-Ra, the themes that were She-Ra. And I look around and nobody really gets it, it seems like. I mean, many of you here will get it, I'm sure. But I hear people talking about it and no one's really pulling out specifically what's going on here, the evils that are going on here, how they're trying to reshape the way people think. She-Ra was a spinoff of He-Man, okay? But it was geared towards girls. Now, I liked watching She-Ra as a child a little bit. I still watch it today some, but it doesn't have the place in my heart that He-Man does because She-Ra is specifically geared toward little girls. You know, that's okay. That's okay. Girls are going to gravitate towards different things and boys are going to gravitate towards different things. They're not just the same. And if you look at She-Ra, look at the characters and whatnot, She-Ra herself is the show saying this is the counterpart to He-Man's heroism, but He-Man was the masculine form of that heroism, and She-Ra is the feminine form of that heroism. And they built that up perfectly from the bottom up with their character designs. She-Ra looks very strong, but she also looks very feminine. And people, when I start talking about character designs, again, this is part of that sort of, they need to silence you. They need to strawman you. They need to silence you. You'd be surprised at the comments. You'd see some of them in my chat section, but I hide them from people who are just beside themselves that I've come out with an opinion like this. And they will come out with all kinds of insults and this and that. And you think all women just, must look like this, that. No. Where do you get this from? Where is the straw man coming from? We're talking about mythology. You need to get rid of this stupid, ignorant assumption that the characters on the screen need to look like you and represent visually the world around you. This is fantasy. This is fantasy. I don't want Eternia looking like the countryside outside my back door. That's stupid. Nor do I want the people in Eternia to look like all the people in my real world around me. That's stupid. We don't need to go ahead and show all the different kind of body types that are out there and all the different types of ethnicities that are out there. We're on another planet. We're on another planet with humans, but they're a different version, humanoid or whatever. This doesn't work. It should not look like the world around us. This is another just evil lie, this evil assumption that the woke ideologues build every story they tell on. Must be representative of the world exactly around us. Now, there's something to be said for some measure of representation when it comes to just simple supply and demand, right? If enough of a demographic are interested in purchasing and supporting financially a story with the hero of this persuasion or this ethnicity or this whatever, then okay, supply and demand, make it happen. There's nothing wrong with that. The problem is that we're being told you're a bad person and you're writing a bad story unless you have every flavor of the Baskin-Robbins human ice cream there and every person in the show you're watching, or else you're supporting the wrong thing. You're bad, you're evil. This is fantasy, folks. There's nothing wrong. I said in my He-Man video that He-Man shouldn't be that diverse. It really shouldn't. It is based a lot on, as I say, that there's a lot of influence from the Norse Celtic Gaelic stories. There's some influence from Germanic tribes, certainly. There's influence in there, but this is not, you shouldn't see examples of people from all shades of Africa and Asia and so forth in here. That's mythology comes from certain places. Now, it can. I mean, like I said, it's an alien planet. So the original cartoon, the original Filmation cartoon, you had samurai, you had Claptrap was his name and stuff like that. So you can have that. But the problem is when you force it, when you force that diversity in there, whether in ethnicities or races or something, or body types. So when you look character per character next to each other from the She-Ra series, what they did with just She-Ra, for example. I mean, the quote unquote She-Ra of the new series is not There's nothing specifically about her that says girl. She could easily be a boy, especially nowadays, in which men are just becoming ever and ever more effeminate. That's scary. That's really scary. Everywhere I look around me, especially younger men, and there are a number of reasons this could be. I don't know why, but the culture is just telling you that they prefer you to be less masculine as a man. I mean, I just see all of these weak chin, weak hips, girly men walking around. And I'm far from like John Wayne, right? I'm not Mr. Manly Man. I don't play sports or lift heavy things or whatever, But there's a basic truth to masculine and feminine attributes and how much should be sought after, developed, and present. So you take She-Ra. She was the feminine version of heroism. Her people around her. Look at Bo. Okay, Bo, at times, maybe sort of a love interest, but maybe not. I mean, he was also a love interest with other people, sort of. It was a children's cartoon. They're not going to push that stuff too much. But Bo was an example of masculine strength through the eyes of young girls, because She-Ra was geared to young girls. So if you're going to have this hero that works with She-Ra, who's a man, a big, strong man, well, you look at Bo, he's not as built or hulky as He-Man, because, again, this is through the girl's lens here. He's got the red, he's got the colors appropriate, and he's there for her. He supports her. He uses his strength to protect. This is the healthy view of masculinity through a young girl's eyes. This is what dad should be, or that older brother or whatever. You've got those aspects in there. You've got other characters who are a little bit more roguish. You've got other characters, all of that like that. And you look at character for character comparison, like I said, to what the abomination that is the Netflix She-Ra series. It's horrible. They're trying to tell you what the message is that there's no such thing as masculine or feminine. There's no such thing as healthy and unhealthy. You can be a blob of pudding if you want. Let your body turn into that. It's okay. Body positivity. No, it's not okay. You're unhealthy and you're going to die soon unless you do something. Biological truth, folks. Deal with it. And of course, the story. I mean, there's no. I don't even need to talk about how the story is just the dregs of the barrel because of that. Because this is their agenda. They're pushing this instead of that. He-Man is doing this as well. Now, let's talk about Superman. This is not a Superman cartoon. It's not. The name of this cartoon is My Adventures with Superman. Who's the My there? Who's speaking? Who's speaking that title? Who's the speaker? It's Lois. This is a Lois Lane series. Now, there's room for something like a Lois Lane series. We've had comic runs occasionally from Lois Lane's perspective. But again, why are we doing a show with a different version of Superman or from a perspective of a different character of Superman when we haven't even gotten Superman right? No one's gotten him right yet. It's been ridiculous. They can't do it. So they just rather, let's just do some evil Superman instead. Let's do a show about Lois from Lois's perspective now. Let me read you some of the descriptions of this show, of this My Adventures with Superman. Let me see if I can find it here. To differentiate itself from past incarnations, My Adventures with Superman will put more focus on Clark Kent's cast of supporting characters. With Lois Lane and best friend Jimmy Olsen at his side, Clark will do his best to stand out in a crowded Daily Planet newsroom while keeping his superhero career secret. Where's the part here? This fresh take from the Warner Bros. Animation team delivers a modern, relatable Clark Kent alongside a fearless, whip-smart Lois Lane, who are navigating the small tasks of both becoming adults and trying to save the world. This is Lois Lane's show, and it's not any Lois Lane that you would recognize. It's not going to be Lois Lane that we know and love. It's the woke ideologue Lois Lane. Don't look for any remote romance between Lois and Clark because they're just young. They're just, trying to figure out how to be adults. This is not the Superman Lois story. No. But see, we can't have anything like a heteronormative romance in one of these shows. Or if we do have it, it's got to be somewhat played down. It can't be the main plate, in terms of the story, because heteronormative, that's not diverse. That's to be fought against and to be deconstructed. Now, I don't think this cartoon is necessarily going to go into homosexual or anything like that, but I definitely look for a lot of the non-binary agenda nonsense coming out with Lois. Certainly, probably with Jimmy as well. Or they might just make Jimmy gay, straight up gay. Who knows? We've already cross racially cast him, for diversity points there, which is stupid. It wasn't good in the Supergirl show. It's not good here. It's dumb. But he was a redhead, Can't have those dirty redheads in our shows and TV series, so they got to be diversified. Alec Purdue, thank you very much for $5. Says Superman is the pinnacle of masculinity. Hence, these ideologues have to destroy him. Well, that's why. Yeah, they went after He-Man. They went after the She-Ra, and wait until this He-Man series comes out. He-Man, he still looks very strong. Looks like He-Man from those character designs, but he's going to be played down. He will be put in his place by Tila and the diverse cast. Notice there's no Man-at-Arms designs there. I bet anything Man-at-Arms will have been killed in this cataclysmic event. I don't know for sure, but I wouldn't be surprised at all because he's a father figure. We can't have father figures around here. Get out of here. Father figures are evil. Patriarchy. How dare you? So they went after He-Man. They're going after Superman as best they can now. And I'm glad you said that because that image that came out that I had in the thumbnail here, Superman, Clark Kent, oh, what? Oh, and Lois almost giving him a noogie there. Now, that kind of behavior, you might say, well, that's kind of typical for a Superman story. I mean, Clark tries to play like he's not all together and Superman necessarily, when he's Clark Kent, and maybe they're going that route. No, they're not. Don't be so naive. They're not going to go that route. This is your Clark Kent. This is your Superman. As I just said in the description there, more focused on Clark. He needs to be more relatable. Relatable, right? Our aspirational heroes need to be more relatable. This is going to be about him, relatable Clark, and whip smart Lois. What about, where's her relatabiliness? No, she's got to be the one that's, just so much cooler than everybody. Clark's going to be adult. Clark's going to be her little purse puppy the whole time. Clark, this is going to be my adventures with my purse puppy, who sometimes puts on a red and blue suit and does superpowered stuff. That's what it's going to be. It's not going to be anything remotely like Superman should be. Not certainly nothing like the Superman we need right now, which is the real, true blue, iconic Superman. And it's on purpose. It's on purpose that we're not getting that. Not everybody in power at Warner Brothers. I'm not saying they have this, agenda on the wall, like make sure all your shows push this and that. But this is as I said, this insidious ideology that has crept out from the ivory tower of academia into entertainment industry. I mean, just straight up, because they're politically aligned with it. And it's too many people in power. This is what they believe needs to happen. They need to make you think the right thoughts, and they're going to do it through mythology. They're going to do it through the stories that we tell ourselves, the stories we spend our time around. So what do we do? It's actually pretty simple what we do. It's simple to talk about. But as I've said before, people, they cannot do it. I don't understand what is wrong with you people. Now, I know many people in the chat here aren't like this. Stop consuming the garbage. Stop it. You wouldn't sit there on your couch and eat nothing but Little Debbie cakes all day. But somehow you think it's okay to just consume this drivel. No, it's not. You're part of the problem. If you go and watch this new He-Man series, just so you can know what it's like and just to be in the know, no, you are part of the problem. You might as well have done the character design. It's gotten to that point. It truly has. Thanks to Ed Starr as a channel member. Great to have you there. Somebody commented on my, I think it was the He-Man video, and it was a very nice comment, very polite comment. I appreciated it. And he was saying, how much he agreed with me about the He-Man thing like that. But then at the end of the comment, he said, but the thing is, you, saying, to me, you, and then he says, and me as well, talking about him, are going to watch this show. We're going to watch this show to see what it's like. Where do you get that? First of all, How do you think you can just assume that of me? And why do you think it's okay for you to do that and to assert it? People are, like I said before, they're addicted. They can't stop. They must consume the crack of modern ideology and TV. And they tell themselves all kind of just dirty lies about it to justify it. Well, I mean, I'm just, I want to know. I'm watching it so I can critique it. I mean, it's already, I'm not really giving it. What difference am I going to do? Or I didn't pay for it. I pirated it. No, you're part of the problem. You're making it relevant. You're making it current. You are part of the problem if you keep consuming this garbage. As I say, consume stories responsibly. What does that mean? Don't watch this garbage when you know it's going to be garbage. And enough with this ridiculous mindset. It'll never be culled from the culture. I mean, it's almost, I don't know. But you haven't even seen it. You haven't even seen it. Who cares what you think after you've seen it? You've paid for it. You've given them your support. You've given them your money. Who cares what you think after you've seen it? Why? What kind of mentality is that? Well, I've got to see it first, and then I'll say what I think about it. No one cares what you think about it after you've seen it. No one. 2 or 3 people that maybe you're gonna get this vibe from, or this addiction about needing to talk about what's in the know. I got to be knowledgeable about the Twitter hashtags. No, you're hurting this. You're telling them, give us more of that. They don't care if you don't like it after you've seen it. You watched it. You've shown them, I'm going to watch that when you put it out. So put out that season 2 for me. I'm going to go watch it. Well, just to see what it's like. No, you're supporting it. You're not seeing what it's like. You are supporting it. Plain and simple. Stop it. It's really that simple. That's really, if everybody could do that, if everybody who believes this way could actually simply not consume the garbage. Now, we're talking about some pretty extreme instances here, right? We're talking about the She-Ra, Netflix She-Ra. I mean, I can't imagine many people here at all have even tried to give that a chance, right? I mean, it's blatantly obvious what that is. Many of us looking here would never dream of watching this My Adventures with Superman. But here's the problem. People think, okay, well, I'm not watching those extreme ones, but they're, the ones which they kind of try to work with me a little bit and throw me a bone a little bit. That's kind of cool. Maybe I'll go for that. No, that's a problem too. And I'll talk about that in a second here. Megatron Prime says the Harley Quinn show is trash. Yeah, the Harley Quinn show is garbage. I put that in there as well. It's nonsense. We'll talk about that in a second. Alec Purdue for $5. Thank you very much. Said Eric July said it best. People are like hogs. They watch whatever is put in front of them. They don't have any critical thinking skills. That's absolutely true. Absolutely true. They think, well, knowledge is power. If I've seen it, I'm in the know. No, you knowledge is not power. Stories shape you. The stories you watch, the stories you just mindlessly drivel into your head day after day, they shape you. They shape your character. They desensitize. They desensitize you. They tell you what to strive for. They shape you. There's no such thing as just, well, I'm just going to watch it and then talk about how it's not good. No, it already had an effect on you. Ed Starr, you just joined the channel. Now this super chat, man. Thank you so much. Just become a member. Happy to support your commentary on pop culture. I really do appreciate that. That's a huge super chat too. Thank you very much, sir. That's I appreciate the support because people are coming after me big time now. They really are. For a long time, my channel, I was busy with school. I was busy with different things. And my channel, we did our book studies. Occasionally, maybe I'd put out something, but that was it. I mean, I just wasn't really able to speak out much and do much there for pretty much this whole last semester, at least. And I didn't face any kind of opposition, really. Occasionally, I would talk about the wrong thing. Don't you talk about the Mandalorian. Jon Favreau's the chosen one. There's a civil war at Lucasfilm. We need to fuel the fight. No, guys, come on. That's a bone you're being thrown. And occasionally, so I'd talk about the wrong thing, and somebody would come out against me or a couple times like that. But for the most part, it was fine. Now, though, I've been consciously making more videos, and this is a hobby for me. I'm just seeing what will happen, see if I can play into the algorithm. And as soon as I start putting out these more videos about the hot button issues that are going on, but also about good stories and stories that we should go back to, I've been very careful about that, putting out a good balance of things that we need to focus on and go back to. You would not believe the messages, emails, comments in the comment section. They desperately want to shut you down. If you speak out the truth, If you speak out the truth, not just the truth, because see, there's a way that there's a safe truth that they've allowed for you to do. It's okay if you talk about the character designs of He-Man, as long as you're still going to watch it. And then when it comes out, still do a review of the first episode and still do a review of the second episode. They know you're watching. You're making it relevant. If you call out this garbage and say, don't watch this, let's not support this. Well, that's pulling back the curtain and seeing the little man, pulling the dials and trying to be the great wizard there. That's what they're afraid of. And they will come after you big time. And we've seen that out in culture too. If people are, I'm nothing. I'm just a little YouTuber, not even a big YouTuber. But celebrities who call this out, the cancel culture, we've seen how that operates. They can't have anybody calling attention to the alien invasion, as it were. Sound Engraver for $5. Thank you very much. So they'll criticize you for even talking about it on your channel, but you aren't consuming these shows. You're warning us about the ideology in them. I know they can't have that. What is the psychology of that? How dare you put out that opinion on your own channel? I've said this before. I don't go onto other people's channels. I don't go onto blogs or pages set up for this stuff. I don't go attacking or trolling. I've swept out my own little corner of the internet here, and I preach the truth, right? And they can't abide that. And that kind of mentality that's like, well, I have a right to go, to go number 2 all over your little corner of the internet because you said something I didn't like. It's that kind of civilization is not even a thing anymore on the internet. It's all about silencing the wrong think. Silence the wrong think. Always, no matter what. I've seen people, and they'll try to do it. It's a number of different methods they'll try. They'll try to see if they can just sort of schoolyard bully you first. They'll try to insult you. Then they try to straw man you. And it's funny. Somebody will say, like, for example, this is an exchange that happened one time. So my video about He-Man and the character designs, someone said, this makes no sense. You're saying that women can't be shown as strong and women can't be this, that. I said none of that. But this is this straw man of my argument that this person puts out and then says, clear, you're in the wrong because blah, blah, blah. Now, usually I see that tactic for what it is and I kind of hide it, but I was tired at that point. So I just commented back. I was like, oh, you've shown me the light. I wasn't going to engage with it. Now, somebody else commented on that and said, no, I said, what did I say? You show me the light. My argument is now invalid. And nobody else commented, said, no, you're not answering his argument. You need to come back and answer this argument. No, I don't. You don't see, that's what they try to do. This is a very dangerous, evil little tactic they try. If you're speaking out, you're saying, hey, the emperor has no clothes. They will try to recontextualize this whole forum. They will set up the room. They will set up your place lower than them for the debate. They will set it all up. And then they'll say, you're wrong and you're evil. And this is why your argument's wrong. What? You're not going to come in here and debate? You're not going to, so we're right. No, I see that you've got it all leveraged against me. You can't recontextualize the whole argument, straw man me to death, and then invite me to come in and defend the straw man that you've set up for me. No, but see, that's a little logical fallacy they do. And they do it with people who make channels. They do it with you all when you talk about it online or out in society. They know that you've got truth there, but they are trying to change reality. They are trying to say a man isn't a man, a woman isn't a woman. Biological laws don't really pertain. They're trying to say this, and they know they want to change reality, so they have to change language. They have to change the arguments and the concepts. They have to. Owen Lister for $4.99, thank you very much, says, if you want cool fantasy, I'm working on one comic of Beetle Blaze, a cyberpunk superhero story, and buy the old stories, they're better. You need to, are these even available? Unless you've been talking about them forever. Are they available? Do you, I mean, it's cool that you're talking about them. I'm glad you're working on your own stuff, because that's part of the answer too, is to work on your own stuff, stop just mindlessly consuming whatever drivel they throw out. Go out there to people who are creating stuff that aren't part of the big system. That's a great way to do it. For $5 is at Xerinx. Starts with an X, so I'm never really quite sure how to pronounce that, but thank you very much. Says, I think you said you teach about character and story. Where else can I find some of your stuff that might be more in depth with your videos, more in depth than your videos? Okay, yeah. So not really any place right now. I've been working on the actual book that goes more in depth about the archetypes forever. That's on my list to get out by the fall, actually. But we'll see when that comes out. Another thing that I was been considering is actually teaching an online class through edX or something like that. If there's enough of a demand for it, because with an online class we can go deeper. YouTube videos, we do have to keep it at right around 10-minute algorithm, if even that, and so forth there. But if you're talking about teaching character and story in terms of writing, an online class that could be in the context of me actually looking at some drafts or looking at some character designs or looking, giving some feedback and stuff like that. So, yeah, I'm going to try that. I do teach classes like that in person, but obviously I can't always do that online very well. Josh Hansen for $5. Gina Carano once said, "Don't ruin my life with lies when yours can't be ruined with the truth." Yours can be ruined with the truth. That's a great way. Yeah, it's a great way of putting it. I'm glad you brought up Gina Carano too, because that's one of the silly arguments when I was talking about the character designs for Gila and Gila. Yeah, it's pretty much more like Tila and Evil Lyn and whatnot, and how they're no longer even remotely showing us a feminine version of heroism or a feminine strength in their character designs. People try to say, again, trying to strawman you, oh, so what? So like Ronda Rousey or Gina Carano, they're not feminine? Are you kidding me? Gina Carano is incredibly feminine. She's incredibly strong, and her muscles are built as well. She's incredibly curvy, incredibly feminine. There's nothing anti-feminine about her physique. And again, get away from the idea that the characters have to represent and look like all the body styles around us. No, of course, women come in all shapes and sizes and body types and all of that. Of course, no one's saying they don't. But when we're talking about mythology, we're talking about symbology. And what is the symbol of the feminine? What is the feminine power? What thing can women do that, I'm sorry, no matter how much you want to throw around the language, men simply can't? And that's grow a human being inside themselves, give it life, and then feed it with their own bodies, for crying out loud. That is insanely powerful, and that is part of that feminine genius. Babies are birthed at the hips and nursed at the breast. That is why hips and breasts are part of that curvature, part of that feminine representation in mythology. Now, it's become sexualized, and it's often way, really sexualized and horrible sometimes. As I say, Wonder Woman's a great example. Wonder Woman should be beautiful. She should even be sexy in a certain, sense there, but not sexualized. But, the woke culture, they're really like Puritans. They're really like Puritans of old. They're so wringing their hands about this. Oh, there's too much skin there. Let's make sure we talk about her cellulite and cover everything up. And it's insane. Got another super chat here from Xerinx for a $10 super chat. Thank you very much this time. So I think it was your Wonder Woman vid where you comment on her design informing the character made me realize how power attainment occurs can inform so much. No books I've read covered that. Okay, that's part 2 of your... Oh, yeah, okay, I got it now. That's part 2 of your whole thing. So Robin Rosenberg is a psychologist who writes a lot about superhero origins, the psychologies behind them. Her scholarship I've built on a bit in my own archetype scholarship. Now, I've taken it a bit further than her with my different observations and whatnot, but she's one place to go for that. She does talk about some different origins, different empowerments. Again, there's more delineations to be made, and I do that in my videos. I do that in the book I'm working on. So yeah, just keep kicking me in the pants about getting the book out because I know people want it, and there's no excuse for not doing it. So I appreciate your interest with that. If you have specific questions about specific character types or whatever, feel free to drop them though, and I'd be happy to entertain that. Or you got video requests or something like that. If it's something I can do, I'll be happy to do that. Then Owen Lister for $4.99. What I mean is I'm working on Beetle Blaze, but also by the old media with better stories like Mask of Zorro or okay, gotcha. Yes, I'm glad you pointed that out. Yeah, by the old media. I actually put links in the description below I don't know. Honestly, guys, I'm serious. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm not trying to predict it as prophecy or anything, but I would not be surprised at all for the classic Filmation She-Ra and He-Man to start to become a lot harder to find. We already know that they're messing with the digital media, or even physical media that they re-release. They're already starting to they talked about product placements. They censor it in different ways. As this sort of we need to deconstruct anything that looks like a masculine or feminine exclusivity. As that woke ideology grows, yeah, look for them to take old movies and start to censor them on reissues and whatnot. It is vitally important. And I mean, I'm not talking about a materialistic issue here. And I'm not saying that everybody needs to own all of the movies that they love or they're going to die or go away. But in general, it's important to own physical media that hasn't been tampered with, that you can still use to point out these are the way these stories should be. These are the seminal appeal that these stories were. Because, what's the word I'm looking for? Nostalgia is in, right? Nostalgia is hip and all of that kind of thing. But look at the shows that they do nostalgia with. They look back at those times and try to read and insert modern ideologies into those times. I talked about Stranger Things season 3, for example. That was a train wreck of a season for a number of reasons. But one of the things they purposefully did was try to insert modern ways of thinking about gender and all this kinds of stuff into those. You see that a lot, and we're going to see more censoring like that. So in the description below, just because they're relevant to the issues that I've been talking about or the franchises I've been talking about, I do have links for a He-Man. This is the DVD set that I have of He-Man, the one that Sound Engraver and I are watching through on all of our times together. It's the original Filmation. It's both seasons. It has the animated film of the Christmas special, and then it's got the animated film Secret of the Sword, which is the pilot for She-Ra. Then there's also the She-Ra Filmation series, the DVD set you can pick up. And these aren't, I think the He-Man one might be like 40. The other ones are less than that. And then finally, the Superman, the animated series, that has become quite cheap. It used to be that these DVD series, you'd have to buy them in different volumes and whatnot. But as the technology's progressed and as they've, fit more onto the DVDs, you can get them, in pretty compact versions. And it's the entire series with a lot of cool extra features and whatnot. Alec produces, this is why I've saved all of my Godzilla VHS tapes and I'm buying up Blu-rays of things like The Neverending Story and Labyrinth. Those are great stories too. Neverending Story and Labyrinth. Really great. I enjoyed it when Matt Wilkins was on our Inspiration of Heroes stream the last time, and he was talking about Artek from Neverending Story. These stories, it's not just superheroes. We're going to have Matt Mitchell from It's a Southern Thing is going to be on the stream this Wednesday night for the the Inspiration of Heroes, and he's got I think he was mentioning like Darkwing Duck and so some of these characters, from Disney movies and whatever. Again, on my channel, we talk about superheroes and the fantasy type stories because they're the most visceral mythological stories that you're going to be encountering. And they're easy to kind of pick out this hero's journey stuff and archetype stuff. But any fictional heroes that have this effect on, as a child. My daughter is she loves Strawberry Shortcake. You wouldn't think Strawberry Shortcake's a hero. Well, not like a He-Man type hero or whatever, but the fictional characters, they are going to shape your ideas of things and whatnot. It happens quite a bit. And that's how mythology works. Like I've said, it used to be religion, but since we're not in a culture that has a shared religion anymore, it's our shared fiction that we draw these lessons from and these values from. So I think I'm running out of steam. I think I've gotten through everything I wanted to say there in terms of the agenda that they're trying to do. They're trying to make a world in which masculine is in no way associated with maleness and feminine is in no way associated with femaleness, which is absurd. It's absurd. There's so many other things to say about it. But again, wanting to control you, wanting to make sure you think the right things. It's not enough that you say you're free to do what you want. Hey, if you're into X, then you're free to do that. But I want you to think it's right that I do X. Well, no, I think that's wrong, and I don't agree with that, but you're free to do it. No, you're full of hate, and you need to think the right things about me. And no, you don't get to do that. Where in the world is this coming from? Never in the history of existence have you ever had a right to make sure people think the right things about you. You can't do that. What I mean, this is like preschool logic. Some people aren't going to like you. Some people aren't going to think what you're doing is right, no matter what. That's life. Deal with it. But, this part of this safe space mentality, no, we need to make sure everybody has to think the same thoughts and have the same, no, this is not okay. This is not right in any way. It's garbage. Oh my gosh, Comic Artist Pro Secrets. Mr. Ethan Van Skyver is here in the chat. Welcome, sir. Big fan of yours as always. Well, I've been on your channel once or twice way back in the day, but great to see you there. Unfortunately, I'm kind of running out of stream. I kind of finished out what I was mainly talking about with this agenda. But just to recap, I mean, we see it. We see it everywhere. Again, the irony of it is, and we've talked about that, the irony that they would say, well, Tila has to have the same parts of her body to be accentuated as He-Man's if she's going to be a hero. And we'd look back and we'd say, isn't that ironic? If you're trying to say that women need to be showcased and not men, why are you making the women look like men? And we see that as silly. But again, their insidious agenda there is they want to disassociate in your minds masculinity with male, femininity with female. They want to live in that world. They want to live in that world where a human being who grows a beard is not necessarily a male or a female. Anybody can do that. A human being who bears a child isn't necessarily a man or a woman. I mean, anybody can do that. It's all what you identify as. What do you identify as? Do you identify as a tiger? Then go be a tiger. No, there's objective truth to the reality we live in. And again, it's not enough to be free. I'm not talking about we need everybody to live the way we want to. We need everybody to conform to our agendas. No, freedom's fine. Go do what you want. But this mentality that you need to think it's okay. You need to think the things that I want you to think about me, or else you're wrong thinking. And they do that. How are they going to win? How are they becoming and growing in that? Is through our mythology. It's not enough for them to make their own stories. Nope. They've got to rework and deconstruct and replace the classic stories that we've been told, whether that's He-Man, Superman, whatever. So garbage. Well, I am pretty much out of steam, as I says. Andres Hernandez for $5. Thank you very much. Says, I understand if this is too personal, but ever had student fans or nerds and any bad experiences? Example being Snyder fans. I tell my students at the beginning of my classes, I say, look, one thing about me as a teacher is that I'm never, if I'm teaching it like for my college composition classes anyway, I said, look, I'm not here to preach to you. I'm not here to tell you what to think. I'm here to help you as a writer express better what you already think. That's all I'm here to do, and I'm not here, so I'm not going to be preaching to you. And I'll tell them though, and a lot of students have told me, man, that is awesome, because they already, even at a freshman level, they already see the indoctrination going on, just a blatant indoctrination. But I do tell my students too, I said, but the one thing I will blatantly try my best to convince you of is that Zack Snyder's movies in no way portray the real Superman, and Disney Star Wars in no way portray the real Star Wars. It's really insidious too, because I this last semester for my college composition class, I taught the original trilogy of Star Wars. So Episode 4, Empire Strikes Back, and Return of the Jedi. And one of the things I did, I mentioned this before on another stream, but I'm not sure which one. I'm not sure who all heard it. But I talked about how we watched A New Hope, just the phrase, like, it's Star Wars, but the phrase just to differentiate for them, students who've seen all the prequels and whatever, grew up with the prequels, these kids of this age did, A New Hope. And we talked about how amazing Princess Leia was in that. Very, she needed to be saved. She was a prisoner, but very strong, No little simpering, maiden damsel in despair in any way. And we talked about that. Then I showed them that little clip that Disney did. I forget what it was called, but when they tried to do the little animated clip and they rewrote Princess Leia's scenes from A New Hope, in which Luke and Han save her, but Luke and Han are complete dolts. They're botching the job in every direction, and Leia has to be the one to fix it for them, and she has to be the one. She is so unimpressed by them in every way. That's not what happened. And we talked about it, and I said that's actually diminishing her character when you set it up to where she has to diminish them. She has to make them look weaker to look stronger herself. Well, then that's making her look weaker ultimately. And they got it. I mean, they got it. They were writing about it in journals. They were writing about it in papers. It was really, really cool to see. And where it wraps around to your question here is this. So then I had one girl who was quite taken with this idea, and we had finally watched all of the original trilogy films, and she was working on her argumentative paper. And she had a meeting with me because she wanted to know, is it okay if I bring in stuff from Return of the Jedi? And I was confused. I was like, well, yeah, it's one of the movies we watched. Of course we're going to do that. And she said, yeah, but I mean, like the job of like the slave girl Leia, because I know that's kind of problematic. And this was not a woke. This was not a girl who was like, a woke ideologue or anything like that. Quite the opposite. But that assumption that stuff like that shouldn't even be spoken at full volume. And I said, you'd be insane not to include that scene. I said, are you kidding me? Talk about a image of her strength. She's enslaved. She's put in this slave girl garb to be nothing but a sex toy there for Jabba. But she takes the very chain that he put her on and strangles him with it. You'd be insane not to mention that. Are you kidding me? And people, one lady who worked with me, who was in the English department when my first Heroic Inspirations book came out, and I did a reading of it there. And she was talking to me about how Wonder Woman always struck her as very, Linda Carter Wonder Woman. And this wasn't a big kind of ideologue person or whatever. She's a very sweet lady and very intelligent. And she was talking about how she caught a rerun the other day of Linda Carter's Wonder Woman. And she said, unfortunately she had to wear that costume, but just the presence of her really struck me and inspired me. And I had to go, whoa. What do you mean, unfortunately, about that costume? That costume is not there to make her a sex object. Just because a character shows skin doesn't mean they're sexualized and dehumanized. They can be sexualized and dehumanized, and that can be a problem. Absolutely. I mean, like I said, Wonder Woman should never be a sex kitten. But she should show us the beauty of feminine strength and the beauty of the feminine body. Absolutely. That costume is iconic, and I've done videos on the, I call them Stop Screwing with the Costume. They're older videos. Maybe I should reissue those like I've reissued some of my other ones. But you take that original Wonder Woman costume, it is heavily symbolic. The whether it's a sort of a breastplate or bustier or whatever, how the chest works on it, and then going down into the point at the bottom of the trunks. I do this in the video where I talk about the symbolism of it, and it's superimposed. It's a heart. It's a heart, because what's at the heart of Wonder Woman, her character? Love allure. That's what Marston built her for, was love allure. That the feminine strength, the feminine love, the feminine compassion lures your submission as a villain. That's part of her character from the bottom up. Yes, she's capable of war. Yes, she's capable of acts of violence when she needs to, but stop making her Xena warrior princess. The key to Wonder Woman is that she will always extend her hand before raising it. She will always wound if she can do that instead of killing. She will, that's the idea. In our superheroes' designs, our costumes are very coded in that aspect. I talk about how Superman, for example, little things that people don't notice all the time, or people think can just be changed easily. But the boots, the cut of his boots on the front, that's an M. That's an M. And it's the inverse pointing up to the shield, which is the pointing down. It kind of grounds him. And then if he's got the proper trunks and the proper coloring, his center of gravity is low. This is a character who's grounded. This is what he's visually communicating to us symbolically, even if we don't logically think of it all the time. So yeah, the way characters, not just their costumes, but the way their bodies are designed, it should never be about representing the world around us. It's representing these ideals. As a child, I never thought, I'm going to grow up to look just like He-Man. I never look just like He-Man. I never will look just like He-Man. But I don't watch the cartoon and think, oh man, now I'm ashamed of my body. No, I watch the cartoon and I see the coding in that and the symbolism of masculine strength, and I think I want to live that out. I want to use my strength to protect my family and to stand up for what's right, like He-Man does. Don't go away. Oh, I don't have a six-pack. Yeah, I mean, that's stupid. That's just the imbecility. It's what's the word I'm looking for? Blanking on the like I said, it's late. Not late, but it's I'm out of steam. My brain's starting to fry. But I think, let me check and see if I missed that. I think, did a super chat come in right after that? Somebody was asking about Brandon Taylor for $2. Thank you very much. Says did I do writers work, an online writers workshop? As I said before, I haven't I do developmental editing for people who want to hire me for that when I can, when I have the time. But yeah, I am looking towards, I'm actually teaching less classes this fall than normal because I see the writing on the wall. You know, I do teach at State University, and it's only a matter of time before somebody identifies me and calls me out as a wrong thinker. Now I work at a pretty cool school that's not really, you know, for all of the universities out there that do have a lot of that nonsense encroaching in it, my university isn't really quite there yet. But it's only a matter of time, you know, in the world, really. So I've been, trying to push on other doors and just make sure other options are open to me. And one of the things is, you know, picking up the things from my YouTube channel, using it as a platform for other things, like I said. But the possibility of teaching an online course, you know, I've taken a lot of online courses myself from edX and different. They're a lot of fun when you do them right. You know, they're not college credit, so people don't feel like they have to write papers or anything like that. But when you have a creative bent to them, then people do enjoy the lecture videos, and they'll follow this or that so that they can submit drafts to be looked at and whatnot. So, you know, I've been looking at possibly designing something like that for a while, and that would include something like an online writers workshop, you know? So yeah, you know, if enough people express interest in it, you know, that's something that we could do, definitely. Owen Lister for $4.99 says, speaking of superhero designs, did you see my Superman analog, Aeneas? I posted in the Facebook group. I did. I saw him, and I thought it was actually more of a Green Lantern super analog, because he finds the talisman, and you had a ring and everything like that. But I saw that you were going for the aspirational, which is pretty cool. You know, in any superhero universe, you know, if you're creating your own or whatever, you can't have just nothing but aspirational heroes running around, obviously. But they're important. They're important to put there, definitely. You need them. You can't have good cathartic motivational heroes that are going to operate correctly if they don't have aspirational heroes to lead the way and set the standard. Definitely. So that is all for tonight. Then I've got you know, the recommendations, the links in the description below if you want to pick up some versions of these great characters. You know, the original Filmation stuff, the original Superman the animated series. I've been doing the heroic inspiration, our heroic recommendations still. You know, we talked about Supreme, we talked about Huck. We've talked about some of the great Superman stuff, and I'm going to continue those chapter previews of the book Heroic Inspirations that, you know, I said the publisher sadly went under during the quarantine and during this whole COVID stuff and everything. So the book's not available, but I've got the rights to it again, and I can re-release it in a different way. So I'm kind of working it up into something else or whatever. Probably just release it on Amazon. That's just so much easier. All my stuff's pretty much going to go straight to Amazon from now on. But yeah, so working on that stuff. But those videos, those chapter previews, people seem to enjoy it, especially the Spider-Man one that just came out. I think the next one that I'm doing is either Superman or Fantastic Four, and then I've got a Batman one in the works too. You know, they've got quite a bit of them. They're a little time consuming to put the images, you know, and everything, but it's people seem to like it, so that's good. That's good. All right. Well, thank you guys for coming out tonight. We've been we're over the time. Usually it's about an hour is about all I can roll with these, my little lecture videos. But really appreciate you guys engaging. Very much appreciate the super chats. And just as I say that, we've got another one coming in from Arcade Burns, $10. Thanks for the talk. No good comes from this fascism with a smile. They should be called sympathy hijackers. I did get your book, loved it, and would be very interested in a writer study group. Cool. I'm glad you grabbed Heroic Inspirations. Yeah, it's cool. Yeah, I was pretty proud of that. So yeah, more to come from that. And thank you. Yeah, and so some sort of writers workshop, writers online class or whatever, we can look into that. I appreciate that. But thank you guys for those who hung out. Thank you very much for the super chats. Those are tips. Those help me, those support me. So I appreciate that. But I very much appreciate everybody who's been chatting in the comments. You guys had the conversation rolling long before the stream started. Because of the nature, as I always like to say this, because I don't want to seem like I'm ignoring people, but my other streams, my gaming streams, our book study streams, I do just look in the chat and read people more often. But because of these Friday night streams, I like to treat them as kind of a night school, like an online lecture kind of thing. So I have my topic, I welcome people, and then we roll with it and get it out. And of course, I'm going to stop to read the super chats because people are paying for these, But I can't really just address the chat in general. So I do appreciate the thoughts and comments you guys were leaving. I did see some good stuff there, and do go back and look at it. So that's all for right now. But thanks for watching. And until next time, keep enjoying and digging deeper into the hero stories you love.